driver wants to park his car. Victory lane at Daytona. Today, we'll see the 14 fastest drivers of last season in the opening race of the 1991 season, the $280,000 Busch Clash. It's an all-out 20-lap sprint, but this year divided into two segments. At the midway point, the running order will be reversed. And, as they say in the Bible, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. There's $25,000 up for the first man to complete 10 laps and $35,000 and title of overall victor for the first man to get the checkered flag at 20 laps. Now, this new split format has raised many questions among our competitors. And with my colleague, Dave Despain, is the man who has won the last two runnings of this race, Ken Schrader of Missouri.
Well, Kenny Schrader, a question of strategy. You've won it twice as a sprint race. Now we have this issue of the split format. If you win the first segment, you got to start in the back for the second. Conversely, if you're last in the first segment, you start on the pole for the second. What's the strategy?
We're starting in the back of the first one, so we're going to run up and see if we're fast enough. If we can win the first one and start in the back of the second one, then we know we're already fast enough. But it's going to be awful tough. We're going to just try to pass everybody as quick as we can.
Spoken like a true racer. The three-peat, 3 in a row. 49ers couldn't do it. Lakers couldn't do it. Can Kenny Schrader do it?
We can do it. It's one of these other 13 cars can start their streak for 3 in a row, too. So it's going to be very competitive.
He is the defending champion, and he's going for 3 in a row.
Wait a minute. I'm the defending champion, and I'm back.
Who's this guy?
Dale Earnhardt told me the last time he ran the Busch Clash he won it, so he's the defending champion. Sort this out for me, guys.
Well, I won it the last two, the last race I was in it, so I should be the defending champion. I hadn't won, been in a race since, but I won it the last time, so I'm defending champion.
It's gotten a lot more competitive since the last time he was in it, and then he's watched it the last couple years, and I think he'll do okay.
I watched you close now.
I watched it soon he's back in Connecticut.
Well, what'd you learn about how to win this race, Dale Earnhardt?
Watching him. I might hang on to him.
With this new format, though, it's a new wrinkle.
Well, it is, but we're going to try to go to the front, and I know he is. He don't like to run second in anything. Found that out by racing him everywhere, and it's going to be exciting. I think it'll be one of the best races of the year. Hopefully we can, one of us can win.
Can you afford to run easy in that first segment?
Championship one way or another. Got 2 shots at it anyway, baby.
Well, in one segment or the other, look for at least one of these two fellas to be up front. When we come back, we'll be with Ken Squire and Ned Jarrett for a look at the starting lineup for the Busch Clash right after these messages.
On International Speedway with my colleague Ned Jarrett, I'm Ken Squire, and it's a mixed field, real salt and pepper affair out there.
Yes, of 14 cars, there are 6 Chevrolets, 4 Fords, 3 Pontiacs, and 1 Buick. And Ken, the starting lineup for this first segment was done by drawing.
Let's see how they'll come to the green. In the front row, last year's Daytona 500-mile champion Derek Cope out of Washington in his Chevy. Kyle Petty in his Pontiac. Row number 2, the Fords of Alan Kowicki and Jeff Bodine. For row 3, it's the Buick of Brett Bodine and the 3-time winner of the event, Dale Earnhardt. In row 4, it's Dick Trickle out of Wisconsin in the Pontiac, Greg Sachs in his Chevrolet from New York. Row 5 is Ernie Irvin out of California in a Chevrolet, and Rusty Wallace in a Pontiac. Row 6 will be Ken Schrader of Missouri, who's won it for the last 2 years with a Hendrick Chevy and Mark Martin's Ford. And going back to row 7, there is Bill Elliott, Dawsonville, Georgia, the only Ford to ever win it back in '87, and Ricky Rudd rides last on the field, the Chesapeake, Virginia driver in a Chevy. Coming down for a start, $112,000 in the first 10-lap segment, 25 miles of racing, about to go green.
And I think they will go flat out, Ken. They want to size each other up, see how they can do. Looking forward to the Daytona 500 green weights.
Underway, taking second gear at the line, busting into third at about turn 1, and on the brake, out in front, quick jump, slides, Derek Cope.
I think everyone thought Kyle Petty might get the jump from the outside pole, but Cope was ready for it.
Look at this battle further back in the field as Earnhardt tries to get unstrung and make a run.
Greg Sachs going back to the back of the pack. He started in the middle. He has a brand new team. Maybe he doesn't have it sorted out yet.
Very slow in those qualifying runs yesterday. Derek Cope going into 3, about to be challenged, and it's the Ford, the Junior Johnson car. '86 Daytona 500-mile champion Bodine to the inside. Here's Ernie Irvan making a sprint on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to pull through cars as they weave and buck out of turn number 4 and complete lap number 1.
Brett Bodine's car, the green car in front of Ernie Irvan, you can see the swerving that he does, and he's not driving that car that way. That's just the way it reacts in the air.
Back on the leaders, and here comes number 3. Down to the inside, it is Earnhardt screaming through. Remember that Earnhardt started in 6th position. He wants to win both ends of this thing. On the outside is the number 11. That's Bodine. Cope falling back to 3rd and under a heavy challenge from the Ford of Alan Kowicki.
Ken, the Railbirds were saying it would take Earnhardt 2 laps to get to the front. Hasn't taken quite that long.
Defending Winston Cup champion, a man who almost won the Daytona 500 a year ago, showing his strength in that Richard Childress black number 3.
Jeff Bodine with a new engine in his car this morning. He didn't qualify too well for the Daytona 500, so they changed engines. Apparently it's working for them.
Rusty Wallace goes into 4th in that Pontiac Penske Racing team. 4th position, and Ernie Irvan in 5th. Looking further back, here's Bill Elliott in the 9, running wheel-to-wheel with Kowicki. And from the inside, Ricky Rudd's car, who started out back in this race, down the back stretch.
Rudd looking for a place to go. He thought about the inside, and he and Rusty Wallace touch a little bit, it looks like, as they started into turn 3. Both of their cars got a little wiggly.
Out of 4, another tie.
Ken Schrader coming up, trying to take over the 4th position from Derek Cope, and doing so.
Back to the stripe they come. Schrader on the attack. Remember that Schrader started in 11th position, second largest field in the history of this event. 14 cars starting today. The largest was 16 back in 1983.
And look at Bill Elliott. He started in 13th position, and now he is up to the 5th position. He helped Kenny Schrader get that position by picking up on the back bumper of him and helping the draft. And now Schrader goes to work on the car number 4 of Ernie Irvan. Will go inside his car.
There's Ernie Irvan, the 4 car, closing, getting tight on Jeff Bodine's number 11. Down the back straightaway for turn 3.
Earnhardt hasn't been able to break away. And look at Irvan now trying to make a move on Jeff Bodine. He looks in the mirror and sees Kenny Schrader and said, if you'll come with me, this pair of Chevrolets can pass that Ford.
Irvan to the inside. Has the hole. He's there. He's into 2nd place. 193 mile an hour average. Remember that Irvan, in qualified 1 day ago, ran a lap at 195 miles an hour.
And Ken, with these 2 cars running side by side, look how much Earnhardt is able to break away.
Here's Ernie Irvan down on the inside, battling for 2nd position. That's exactly what you don't want to be doing if you want to go after the number 3 car.
Exactly. Earnhardt wants them. He likes to look up in his rearview mirror and see them running side by side. Even the 4th and 5th place cars are running side by side. Earnhardt just running out in clear air by himself, but he isn't pulling away too much.
Closing ground out of that corner. There you see Derek Cope, the big surprise here, staying right up and mixing it up.
Drafting is so critical here at Daytona, and especially with the restrictor plates that are mandated by NASCAR.
2 cars now run out back, and that is Dick Trickle and Greg Sachs.
Well, we see Jeff Bodine as he turns the steering wheel on his Junior Johnson Ford.
Halfway distance in the first 10-lap sprint of 25 miles. Earnhardt dominating. Now, to the inside, the 4 shoots away. He gets a little help on the bottom from Schrader and pulls up to run on Earnhardt. Remember, $25,000 to win in this first 10-lap segment.
With 3 Chevrolets now out front, Bill Elliott has moved up to take over the 4th place in his Ford, and Mark Martin in 5th place in another Ford.
Jeff Bodine falling to 6. Kyle Petty, who set up in front, back there in 7th.
Now look at Bill Elliott trying to make a move on Kenny Schrader, hoping that his Ford partner, Mark Martin, will move with him.
25,000 to win, 17,000 for second. Let's go to Mike Joy standing by with the former winner of this event.
Darrell Waltrip won it in 81. Kenny's been in it a record 4 times. Who do you like in this first segment?
Well, of course, Earnhardt's out front right now. But what you see in here, this race is kind of different than any other race that we run, obviously. These guys, a lot of them are one-lappers. They got in this race by sitting on the pole and running 1 fast lap. What you're seeing is like always, the racers are out front. The guys that can run hard all day long are out front, and they're going to win this segment of the race. One of them is Ernie or Bill or Dale, and then they'll turn it around and go again.
Very good point. To get into the race, of course, they did have to win one of the Busch Pole Awards sometime during the 1990 season. And as Darrell said, that was a one-lap run.
A thought from Chris Economac.
Well, just before the start, we had a chance to talk with every driver about what's going to happen at the halfway point. And every driver but three, Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott, and Derek Cope, said they would stop. Earnhardt said if his car was really right, he wouldn't stop. The other two said they'd make up their minds. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Earnhardt elects to stay out the way his car is running.
Irvin in a position now to really take a shot. And remember, he has been running quick all through these first few days of speed weeks. And to the inside comes Jeff in number 11, the Ford at red car, sneaking along the bottom of the racetrack. Then he shut off, runs out of draft. Schrader goes back into third.
He needed someone to go with him. We're inside of Ernie Irvin's car now as he chases Dale Earnhardt. But Jeff Bodine could not get a partner to go with him down on the inside. He had the momentum, but once he got up there and that momentum ran out, the cars just drove by him on the outside. And look, here goes the Ricky Rudd car on the outside. Bill Elliott moving around. So that move, unfortunately, cost Jeff Bodine.
Rudd making a tremendous move from 14th spot. Remember, it's only a 10-lap, 25-mile race. Coming around this time, we'll see if the Modesto, California campaigner, who won his first Winston Cup race just a year ago, is going to have it to make that move on the Intimidator, the black number 3 of Earnhardt.
There are no points in this race, Ken. Just money, prestige, and bragging rights. And the bragging rights might be the most important part of trying to run up front.
Remember, first goes to last for the second segment. In that second segment coming up from Ernie Irvin's vantage, looking at the leader, making his run here at Daytona on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Here comes Ernie. They're both going to try to win both ends of this thing. The number 3 getting very wide there, Ned, as they hit turn 3.
Yeah, he did that. That was a purpose move. He was just trying to break the draft of Ernie Irvin.
To the outside, Schrader looks for some clear air and tries to set sail. Car spinning, in trouble.
It is Jeff Bodine in the car number 11. Caution is out, and Bodine slides down on the inside. Now he gets back on the grass. Apparently did not hit anything. Very fortunate.
The first segment ends under caution with Earnhardt $25,000 richer, Irvin second, Schrader third, and Bill Elliott from the last row to fourth. More in a moment. The airship Shamu, the 190-foot-long SeaWorld blimp, making its first appearance here in Daytona. And let's take a look right now at that finish in the first 10 laps. Here's how they came across. Earnhardt victorious under caution and checkers with Ernie Irvin second, followed by Schrader, Bill Elliott, Ricky Rudd, Mark Martin, and Kyle Petty. The 1 through 7 positions, and there's the remainder of the field. Now remember, those who were last now become first. Jeff Bodine did it pretty dramatically coming out of turn 4, Ned.
Yes, and I don't think he did that purposely to get to start on the pole. He lost control coming off of turn 4. His car number 11 spun to the inside. And fortunately, he did not hit anything. He spun around and around and came in, changed 4 tires, so he's on the pole now.
From inside of his car, here's how it looked for Jeff Bodine, 86 Daytona champion.
And you can see he was looking at the infield. There for a moment, he couldn't see anything. Then he looked at the other cars going by, spinning around one more time. There goes Alan Kowicki behind his windshield. I doubt if Jeff even saw him. Now let's go to the pits and Dave Despain.
Dale Earnhardt said if his car was good, he'd stay out there. His car's good, but he came in for 4 tires, and that was the norm along pit road. The unusual pit stops, Jeff Bodine, he got 4 tires. They looked that car over very carefully after he spun. And here in Ernie Irvin's pit, they have an overheating problem they're concerned about. They kept the car here doing all they could to cool it down in hopes that it'll be as strong for the second 10 laps as it was for the first.
Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the second 10-lap sprint. Up in front, first row is Bodine and Sachs. Row 2 is Trickle and Wallace. Row 3, Alan Kowicki, Derek Cope. Then in row 4, you have Brett Bodine down on the inside, and standing along beside him in that 8th position as they get ready to fly
will be the Kyle Petty car. Mark Martin will start 9th, Ricky Rudd 10th, Bill Elliott 11th, Kenny Schrader 12th, 13th will be Ernie Irvin, and Dale Earnhardt shotgun on the field.
Second 25-mile segment. It's 10 laps, $35,000 to win. Pace car comes in, field is ready to roll. Bodine, who spun, coming out of 4, comes down to take the flag from the point. Right beside him, Greg Sachs. Row 2, Trickle, Rusty Wallace. Out back, the men to watch. Number 4, the yellow car, Ernie Irvan, and the man in black, Dale Earnhardt.
And look at him trying to find a hole down on the inside. He does. He makes it 3 wide and just sort of roots Kenny Schrader out of the way. Dale Earnhardt already on the move.
Looking for another spot out of the back.
There he ran up on a wall, nowhere to go. Bill Elliott down on the inside. They're going to split Mark Martin down the back stretch. Martin has no control over what they're doing. He just sits there with the throttle wide open.
Bodine trying to pull away. Remember, he spun 3 times coming out of 4, changed his tires. Here's Earnhardt on the run, and Ernie Irvan gets shut out. A wall in front of him.
Blocked in totally. I'm surprised that Jeff Bodine has not been able to move away. He ran very fast in that first half, but he can't get away from Greg Sachs, so the field stays completely bunched up as long as those front 2 cars are running side by side. But here comes Earnhardt down on the inside.
Finds a hole and takes out another complete row there, Ned.
Yeah. I'll tell you, that car is strong. Look at there.
Right down on the apron that time. Pulls up for Trickle in the 66 and Wallace. Here he comes, trying to bust through. Dale Earnhardt on a roll in the back straightaway.
You could have got all kind of bets in the garage area that a car could not have been able to do that on his own. But Dale Earnhardt, look at him, he's going for the lead.
And has it. In 2 laps, Earnhardt thrusts himself right through the field, bottom of the racetrack. What a statement about next week's 500 Earnhardt is making here in the climb. Oh, one in trouble, Ricky Rudd. Cope goes in the wall, Rudd spinning. You see the back end takes an air and limp. Back to the line, caution is out. Look again at what triggered this, Ned.
It looked like Cope's car got into the car number 25 of Schrader, and then that threw Cope's car into the car number 5 of Ricky Rudd, and Rudd goes spinning down on the inside, fighting the steering wheel, trying to get control, but really doesn't have much control at all.
Rick Hendrick Chevrolet team eliminated both Schrader and Rudd out, as well as Derek Cope. From last to first, 14th up, that's Earnhardt, and from 9th to 2nd, Mark Martin.
Draft up front.
Controlling the race. The thing he likes to do the most is Earnhardt. He's out in front, and he can wide body that number 3. We saw him do it in that first segment. There's a lot of challengers pulling up, and it looks like it's going to be an effort by those others to try a last lap slingshot to get around him. But with these bodies, it's a little tough, and particularly with those restrictor plates.
Yes. Let's go to the pits and Mike Joy.
Well, Darrell Waltrip, this was the boring part of the race they hoped to avoid, running a lot single file. Will Mark Martin wait till the last lap, and does he have enough?
Well, I think what we're seeing is obviously Earnhardt has a terribly fast car, a great handling car, and obviously this is a race tailor-made for him. He's real gutsy. He took it down on the bottom and passed them 3 wide. I think he's sitting out front now just milking it, saying, come on, boys, show me what you got. I don't think anybody can do anything with him. Mark might be able to put a move on him somewhere if he caught Dale looking in the mirror and made some sort of diversive move like that. But I'm pretty depressed right now watching this race and thinking about I got to be out there next Thursday and next Sunday with that 3 car. I guess everybody will sit on the edge of their seat and wait and see if the last lap has anything to offer.
Last lap here was 194 mile an hour average, turned down by Earnhardt with Martin, Bodine, Wallace in pursuit. Chevrolet leading, Ford second and third, Pontiac maintaining fourth.
There was a time on the last lap that maybe first was not the place to be, but since the days of the defensive plate, I agree with Darrell. I think Earnhardt will stay out there and just see what the others has and not take any chance of trying to draft past on the last lap. He wants them to try to draft past him.
A year ago in the Great American Race, it was Earnhardt's to win all the way until the last corner, the last lap, and he cut a tire. And he hopes to break that black omen that has hung over him here at Daytona in the 500. Look at him drop down again and use that white line right on the bottom and walk it with that car better than 190 miles per hour.
And as the days go on here at Daytona, leading up to the Daytona 500 a week from today, that will be even more important, being able to run down on the left side of the racetrack, because there will be oil and grease get into the pavement, make the track slicker. That'll work to Earnhardt's advantage.
$35,000 up for grabs, closing up Kyle Petty's sum at number 42. But Ernie Irvan gets left out in the lurch here. Here comes the Wallace car, the Pontiac, down to the inside, number 2, and he squirts beneath car number 11, Bodine, and here comes Elliott with him.
Yeah, he had Bill Elliott on his back bumper. That helped him to move around Jeff Bodine, and Jeff is going all the way back to 6th from his 3rd position. Now Kyle, he has come up in a hurry. He's going to try Bill Elliott on the outside.
Almost as if he missed a gear in that first race or something there because he dropped back so dramatically.
I think he got boxed in. His car is fast. The white flag coming out. Just one more lap to go.
Up in front, defending Winston Cup champion Dale Earnhardt, trying to win this Busch Clash for the 4th time. And this is only his 6th performance in it.
If he is going to, Mark Martin is going to make a move, he needs to do it heading into turn 3. He can't wait until he starts out of turn 4. He wouldn't have time, I don't think. He'll need the help of Rusty Wallace. Will he get it?
Martin tried to move out of turn number 2. Earnhardt was there, moving to the outside. Now back to the bottom. Here they come, final lap, $35,000 at stake. 13th annual Busch Clash coming to the line. Wallace has pulled that Pontiac up into 3rd. Coming to the line, Chevrolet, Ford, Pontiac wheeling down for the checkers, and at the line, no question about it, Dale Earnhardt is the winner and the man to beat in next week's 500. We'll be back with more in a moment.
And again, I guess there's no question now who the defending champion of the Busch Clash is.
Yeah, we settled that dispute we had with Kenny before, didn't we? But it's great to be back in it. Good Lord, it's a good, safe race today, and we know our prayers are out with the guys over in the Persian Grove. Hope they come home safe. And, you know, we just had a lot on our mind today. Go up there and try to win this race, and the guys did a great job with this Jim Goodrich Chevrolet. We had Western Steering Mac along for the first time, carried them victory lane the first time. That was great.
Were you apprehensive on that second start, wondering if you could get to the front?
Well, it was, Mike. At first, you know, I was talked about it all week with Richard, you know, should we do that or should we just sort of sandbag? But no, we're not that kind of team. We want to try to go for it and try to win. And we come back in 2 laps was amazing to me. I didn't think we could do it that easy, but the car just catch some wind and it'd really go. I was up in the top lane on the first corner down here, and I moved down behind Brent down in 3 and 4 and caught some air and got by him, and I just stayed on the bottom, and the car just picked up right through the corner and got on by him.
And as well as he's running, there are some long faces in the garage looking to next Sunday. Yeah, here's Chris Economaki.
This ain't our best car either, Mike.
Oh, boy.
Okay, the records show that there were 9 lead changes in the last 5 runnings of the Busch Clash, so the format was changed. Well, they didn't take Dale Earnhardt into consideration. He's known as the Intimidator. Now he's known as the format wrecker. If it weren't for Dale Earnhardt today, there would have been only 1 pass for the lead. Look for changes next year. Ken Squire?
Well, thank you, Chris. And with the Clash completed, look forward to next Sunday in the Daytona 500. Davey Allison will be on the pole and carrying one of 4 CBS onboard cameras. Beside him will be California's Ernie Irvan when they come down to green in the Great American Race. And so for Chris Economaki, Ned Jarrett, Dave Despain, and Mike Joy, I'm Ken Squire saying so long from Daytona Beach, Florida. And don't forget, coming